Welcome to The Explainer. So, you're an executive, right? And you are hearing about AI constantly. The real question is, how do you actually fund a project that gets past all the hype and, delivers real value? Well, let's break down the playbook for how to get it right.
Okay, let's just start with a number it's pretty sobering. Boston Consulting Group found that a staggering 74% of companies haven't seen any real, tangible value from their AI investments at scale. Just think about that. That's nearly 3 out of every 4 projects just not hitting the mark. So, the million-dollar question is, right? How do you make sure your project lands in that winning 26%? Well, we're about to walk through the playbook that's designed to do just that, right from the very beginning. All right, first things first. Before you even think about the tech, you have got to pin down the why. I mean, what's the business case? And you need to define it with absolute crystal clarity. And look, we're not talking about some vague goal like, let's improve efficiency. No, this is about picking just one, specific key performance indicator, a KPI, and setting a hard target for it. It's this laser focus that keeps your project from turning into one of those expensive science fair experiments that, looks cool but has zero ROI. Okay, this is where the real discipline kicks in. It's called a 90-day proof of value, or POV. What it does is it forces the team to deliver measurable results and to do it fast. You get a clear target and, this is so important, a pre-planned off-ramp if things don't pan out. The whole idea is simple. Win fast or fail fast and cheap. Okay, so you've got your business goal locked in. What's next? The conversation has to turn to risk. Because let's be honest, when you fund an AI project, you're not just funding the cool stuff, the potential upside, you're also funding all the risk that comes with it. And you can't just pass this off to IT. The accountability for what an AI does, whether it's good or bad, it doesn't stop with them. As an executive, those risks, the ethical, the legal, the operational ones, they all land right on your desk. That means having a governance framework isn't a nice to have. It's absolutely non-negotiable from day one. The good news is you don't have to invent this wheel yourself. There are proven models out there, like the NIST AI Risk Management Framework, that give you a solid structure to follow. It walks you through how to govern your policies, map out the potential risks, measure how the AI is performing, and then manage any issues that pop up. Think of it as your blueprint for building AI responsibly. And speaking of risk, you've got to keep an eye on the regulatory side of things. The EU AI Act is a huge one, and you can see new rules are kicking in starting in 2025. And hey, even if you're not based in Europe, if your AI is used there, these rules can absolutely affect you. Getting ahead of this stuff is just smart. It helps you avoid some really nasty, costly surprises later on. All right, so we have a clear business case. We've got our risk guardrails in place. Now it's time to talk about the money. Let's dive into the critical financial and operational choices you're going to have to make. So here's the classic dilemma. Do we build it ourselves or do we buy something off the shelf? But, the smartest approach usually isn't just one or the other. It's more of a blended strategy that changes over time. Maybe you start out buying, using APIs to get up and running fast. Then, later on, you start to build the custom pieces that give you a real strategic edge. The key is to have checkpoints where you reevaluate that decision. Now, when it's time to talk budget, you gotta structure it in a way your CFO is gonna love. Break it down like this: your one-time build costs, the ongoing run rate costs, and a contingency fund. When they see this, they know you've actually thought it through. Not just the big upfront investment, but the day-to-day costs too. And that little contingency slice, that shows you've planned for the unknown. And look, to get that budget signed off, you have to show you've got a plan to keep costs from spiraling out of control. So you walk in with proactive controls. Things like using batch APIs for non-urgent stuff to get a discount, or implementing prompt caching so you're not paying for the same query over and over again. And of course, setting hard spending limits. This isn't just a budget, it's a demonstration of real financial discipline. Which brings us to what is, honestly, the number one hidden cost in pretty much every AI project out there: getting your data ready. This stat right here is so telling. 70% of the problems aren't the cool algorithms, they're the messy data. Projects fail because the data just isn't clean or accessible or compliant. You absolutely have to bake that reality into your budget.
Okay, so you've done all this great planning, but how do you de-risk the actual execution? The answer is a disciplined, phased rollout, and the key is having clear decision gates at every single step.
What a roadmap like this shows is responsible management. You see, it starts with a quick readiness check. Then you jump into that 90-day proof of value we talked about. And only if that works do you even think about a limited rollout. See those go/no-go gates? Those are your formal decision points. They give you the power to scale up, pivot, or just pull the plug without burning through a ton of cash. All right, we're almost there. Before you write that check, before you give the final green light, it is time to run your proposal through one last final filter. Think of this as the checklist that makes sure you've covered all the critical bases we've just talked about. This really is your final go/no-go moment. Before a single dollar is committed, you need to ask these questions. Is success clearly defined? Is risk being managed? Is the data actually ready? Is that budget realistic? If you can go down this list and confidently check these boxes, then congratulations. You're not just funding an experiment anymore. You're investing in a real strategic asset. You're ready to fund a winner. So your next AI project is on the table. Which of these questions are you going to ask first? Because by pressure testing your plan with a checklist like this, you completely change the conversation. It stops being about, hey, what's technologically possible, and it becomes about what is strategically certain. And that is how you fund an AI project that actually wins.